Hello and welcome to Mine Mogul. Today we're going to finish this. As you can see, we're pretty dang close to the end. We finished Master of Gold, Master of Steel and Master of Copper between episodes. There was a couple of changes that were completed off camera to make that a little bit more efficient, and we'll go through and show you. Looking at these moguls, the only thing that we don't have is the threaded rod, so I'm going to have to figure out a workaround for that, but to at least get to here, and slag will come back to as well, because I'm hoping that once we complete one of these it'll give us the end one, and then we can try for the full mogul setup. The threaded rods is something that we are still going to need to add. Okay, quick tour. If you've watched any of the previous episodes, you'll know that I tried to keep everything flowing in one direction. So everything raw is flowing this way. I lit it up because there was some complaints about it being dark, so I ran around and chucked in a whole heap of lights. So all the mines, I think I've got all bar about 3 in the original area. I haven't done the ones in the blue cave yet. I'm going to keep those for the slag type things. As we come down this way, so everything is still just flowing through these one major pipe. We've got our gold and what have you up here. They go in, so these 2 big ones go into the crusher spits it out. That other little one does go into the crusher as well. We did have a bit of a spillage problem at one point, which I need to clean up, work out how to fix that. It's probably as simple as I just need to lower this so that it drops directly in rather than blocking it and then they spill off. Carrying on, got the rest of the mine. As you can see, it all flows that way. Coming around the corner, that's where we turn down that shaft. We've got another one pumping in there, another one here that's pumping in there. Come around the corner, we got more gold flowing in there. These couple attach onto that bit. Coming back around the corner. Alright, so as I said, we haven't got any coming from the blue cave yet. Well, this coal miner is the first of the line, and they'll shoot off that way. Down here we've got a few more. Another large one into a crusher. And we come... I didn't light this bit up very well. Sorry about that. We will fix that. And then, yeah, we got a couple more. Okay, so I've got to light this area up. I'll get that done. There we go. Gives us a little bit of light at least. So again, 2 big ones. Coming into a crusher, spitting it out onto the line, and the little ones just go directly onto the line. So all that combined, it gives us an ore flow that kind of looks like that. It's definitely manageable. I think we could add more without it choking. We do have some minor problems like things falling off conveyors, which we'll get to later. So that's the ore collection system. Now for the production system. So this comes into a large splitter. We send iron off one way and coal off the other. Half of the coal then gets split. Half goes off to feed the steel furnace. The other half goes into the hopper for the gems. What's left comes up here. Split off, we've got gold and we've got copper. All the ores fall into a crusher, so you got your iron goes into a crusher, and then that's going to get split as well. So the iron gets split after it comes out the crusher, half for iron, half for steel. Everything left, like gems or geodes, they just drop straight down to this conveyor down here, and then ever so happily get dumped into a polisher and straight into the soul bucket. Now obviously one hopper leads into a second hopper. Hopefully that kills 99% of the coal. So this one's just looking for small pieces of coal. Any that make it through get redirected back onto the intake conveyor so that it doesn't clog up our polishers. Next we have production. Here is my steel production. I've also recently discovered through experimentation that I don't need these pieces of conveyor, so we can move everything back, thus giving us a little bit more room to do what we need to do. So at the moment we're making gears, single ingots that go into rod production, and double because we needed steel plates. So steel plates come around, one goes off to become listed as a steel plate, and the other one comes in for roller to make a pipe. It's got unstuck, good stuff. Over here we've got iron. Same basic setup, except we didn't need gears at this time. What we needed to complete the quest, I think we're still on it actually, for iron. What we need is ingots and plates. I was going to just remove this bit and put another one in there. I'll tweak it later. I've come back after leaving it running overnight to get the numbers up, and this is what's left. So minor tweaks will be done at the end of every quest line, but basically the original plan was this one makes plate, that one makes ingots and gears as needed, and I did have it set up so this one makes rods, and then they simply drop onto the conveyor and the conveyor flows back to the sale bin. Now as you can see, I've slightly altered the way I move my copper and gold. I put them together to save space, so both of them, I will admit it was a pain in the bum to do, but we got it there. So we've got copper and gold flowing as it was before, but now it's just a bit neater. I did get rid of that. We can put it back later because the way I had it set up with rollers, you need twice as much space as a single, so I had to get rid of it because there's no room, but we can make it flow down and out that way later. We've got the gold and the copper flowing in to our productions. Now to make a short jink, if you've seen the previous one when I was still using the normal conveyors, I had a left and then a right. So to get around that, rather than needing 9 spots, I've just put a manual sorter in, and that's working just fine. Same setup as before. So we produce, this one is our copper. It produces here. Again, I've recently found that I don't need those anymore, so I can make more space for things later. Spits it out into a polisher and then onto their machine. Same setup. I've got one that sends the plate straight to sale, one that makes the plate into pipe. Now with gold, we needed a lot less different things, so the gold finally comes out here and it spits it out there. Now for a very short quest I needed like 10 gold pipe, so we just bolted it in here, put one plate in there, and we can make gold plate that way. So if I grab you, if it'll let me, that should finish the one that's in there now. And out she comes. Very weird shapes, but it's gold plate all the same. Everything gets dumped onto the single conveyor. Single conveyor. Just comes along all the way to the drop point. Mostly it works pretty well. When I came back after leaving it running overnight, there were a couple of bits and pieces here and there that didn't quite make it to the bin, so it's not perfect yet. I still have to work out how to make it so that it drops cleanly. There was a couple of things, so I found with the rollers, a lot of stuff, it doesn't like corners. Like if you've got a plate and then a rod lands on top, partly on top of the plate, like it's slightly there, going around the corner it might roll off, or if the plate lands on the roller, the plate will flick off the side. So every hour or two we just got to run around and pick up a couple of bits that have fallen off. With these next quests wanting big numbers, like 1500 of each, and then finally 3000, 5000, and then for those they're just whatever, it's going to be running for a really long time. While we're in the quests, we're going to just turn on the ones that we have available to us, and they should get things started. Okay, for the slag, what I've done, it's a real simple little setup. I've just used whatever leftover pieces I had. I bought another smelter. We're also going to need drill bits, so I've bought my first Mark II drill. We can go 9, chuck you in. I don't know how it works. There we go. That's going to mass produce copper. The copper will come into the smelter. Because it hasn't been crushed, it should turn straight into slag. Now hopefully it'll do it in 3s. Yeah, it's going to be manual, but because they're such small numbers, I don't mind doing it manually. Just make sure that I've got enough bits to be able to manufacture everything that we need. Also, that should give me another drill bit or 3. 4. I need 4 more. So we'll sit there and let's just see if this works or not. Let's just see, because we didn't crush it, it creates slag. Perfect. So we'll go through, hammer these out, and I'll come back once the slag section is complete. Okay, so it's still pumping out straight copper. To rectify this matter, there is a coal node there. So if I'm pumping coal and coal and copper into the same one, that should mess it up enough to make slag. I'll get on it. So now that we've got coal and copper coming in, it should be slag. Perfect. So all we've done is we just grab the coal one, but I've also started using the rapid miners, so it spits out more, and the drill bits only last 2 minutes, so that should get me my 4 leftover drill bits quicker as well. Yeah. So these underway. All I needed to make junk pipe was 2 pieces of pipe that weren't the same material, so I just manually slapped them through, and that completed Master of Slag, putting us onto all of the Mogul quests except for the Mine Mogul. I've got coal ticking in the background, same as before, and I think I've optimized it pretty much. It will make almost everything except for one or the other. Copper, because I've plugged in just about everything now, copper is coming in so fast that a double plate there was causing blockages. So at the moment we're just on 1s. It spits out 1, it splits it across, and that's just the right rate to keep the threader working comfortably. As we can see, that one's finished and the next one's just arriving. So on 1 it works, on 2 there was too many building up. The second one's just ingots, which we can swap out for gears as we need, and this one is doing the same thing as before, taking the ingots, turning them into plate, splitting the plate and into pipe. Gold's a little bit different. As you can see, we only need ingots, plates, rods and gears. So we've got ingots, we've got plates, and we've got rods. Later on we can do the same thing where we swap it all out with gears. So it's flowing, and in the way it's going, in an hour or 3 or 4 we should have knocked out most of the Mogul. The extra mines that we attached, we got 2 large producers here. They come down into a crusher, they go down and into the existing line. This one, if you remember, was the end of the line, the first coal crusher, and then that goes on all the way back up to the top. For the other direction, we got a big one, a couple of small ones, and they're all dropping into this crusher, which not all of it's making, but I'll explain why in a second. It's just too much for one crusher, or because sometimes when they fall they actually break. So up the top I've got 2 more big grinders sending stuff in, and 2 little ones as well. So with the addition of all this extra copper, that would be why I've limited it to 1 at the top. I would have preferred if there was more iron than copper. Like, there seems to be a hell of a lot of copper coming in. But that's our setup as it is for now. Pretty much we just sit back and listen to some music, AFK, just have this running in the background. Every now and then just come and do a quick cleanup because there's bits and pieces that have fallen off. Other things that I noticed, I had the lipped ones like this going onto there, but I found if it's lipped and then it drops down, all the plates and things were standing on end, and as a result they were getting stuck on the chute, which is where the coal comes in. So I swapped those out for flat ones. On the bottom one, you kind of need the lip to get it onto the next path, but yeah. So otherwise, it's working. Like, it's not the best in the world. I'm sure there are people out there that have got neater and better facilities, but for what we're doing, it's working. I am interested to know though if I can, say I finish iron first, if it will let me just start straight on this one. Because if I'm doing that at the same time, those 3,000 while we're doing these 1,500, they're all gonna click together. So we are on the home stretch. Everything is done. Everything is unlocked. And yeah, with the coal not coming in on this line now, it seems a lot less stuff is falling off. I'm not saying nothing's falling off, but it seems to be working significantly better. There's so much ore coming in now. That is about as full as it can get. I think throughout the whole map there's maybe 4 auto miners missing. There's the two down there. There's the 2 right up the back, the coal and copper ones near in the blue cave. Other than those 4, I think that's everything plugged in. I might still go and attach. I'm and ahhing about whether we need it, but we've got this one which we could still attach and just run it straight across to here. That's not going to be a problem. Same with this one. I was future proofing when I put this in, so it can run straight across and onto that one if we choose, which of course we're going to choose. Let's see what we can do. At the end, the only 2 that I'm not interested in trying to plumb in are the 2 right up in the back. Pretty sure there's only 2. Three. Those 3. But we've got so much copper coming through, we don't need more copper. So 2 copper and a coal. They'll be the only ones that we don't add in. See if it can cope. But so far, having it all flow through the one single direction pipe, it's working really well. I expected it to choke and have bits falling out. Some do, but it's nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I'm very happy about this. If we add 2 more mines, I guess the biggest issue would be if they fall down, they're not going to fall anywhere near the smelter, so they're not going to produce slag. I think we're going to be alright. Yes. I'll go and get those added. Alright, so we've now got enough copper ingots, so I have to run over and swap the copper ingots for gears. And that will be the process. I'm sure you can work out how we're going to finish these couple off. But when I come back, I'll have those 2 extras plugged in and we will be significantly further through the Mogul challenges. Alright, so we found another problem. we've got way too much copper coming in. So I bought the experimental dev products and I found the packager, so I'm going to try and incorporate that. It seems to take a whole heap of stuff into a box. Just as a thought, we're going to try and squeeze it in here somewhere, so if it chucks all this into a box, I haven't quite worked out how it works yet, but I'm assuming, I don't know, we're going to experiment with it and figure this out. And I was thinking for the copper problem, I've turned everything off, I'm just waiting for it all to finish flowing. But then we can put one of these overflow splitters sort of there, so that would redirect some into the furnace and then some somewhere else. So I might make another furnace to punch out gears or something. Yeah, I haven't quite worked it out yet, but that was the problem. There's my potential solutions. And yeah, like I'm really enjoying the mental strain of how does this work? How does this work? I'm having a really good time. If this is something that you're into as well, as always, we're big fans of comments and tips. If you've got any tips, drop them in the comments. Like and subscribe. I'm sure that this game will get me into other similar kind of genres. Once we've mastered this, we'll go on to the big cave. We are not done by any means with this, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Alright, so it doesn't seem to matter what we put in to the machine. We just keep grabbing some random stuff. Yoink. Plate. Hog. It's all been copper so far. We're running, here we go, a pipe. What's it saying now? It's at 53%. Alright. So it just lists it, and I'm assuming if it doesn't really matter what goes in, but I'm gonna fill it up and see what it spits out. A box. Is the box going to be better? Certainly will assist with bulk products, that's for sure. It's not entirely this way up, and it's rolled I put some walls in to try and help stop things falling off as well, just as an experiment. If the box works, it might unclutter our lines drastically. Obviously the walls aren't working 100%, but yeah, they've stopped a lot of stuff from falling down. Yeah, that flows nicely, so we're going to try and incorporate boxes for a couple of reasons. Not that we need more money, but it gives us more money. Yeah, that flows in beautifully. But that would mean then that there's going to be substantially less traffic on our conveyor belts. Even though these have been turned off for the last 7 minutes now, there's still stuff flowing. But you can see, yeah, I've got everything turned off to try and fix that build. Alright, I shall continue plotting. So we've incorporated that. So theoretically, everything now that comes out of here will get chucked into a box and sent that way. No matter how hard I tried to make like spiral whatevers to get up there, I just could not get it to work. So we've broken our original rule of not using this. This still works as the best way to make tight corners with, you know, that little jinx with rollers, but now we've got one single straight line right to the bin. All I'll have to do now is try, if it works, then we can incorporate that into the rest of everything else. Make it all nice and tidy. So I've just turned the ore back on. It'll probably take about 5 minutes for it all to get back again, but yeah, plodding along, problem solving as we go. Super simple. We chucked in the splitter, so as it comes in, roughly half will go one way, half will go the other way. Bring it over, chucked in a second smelter. It'll do more copper, but next time we just might, when we go to the next cave, we'll manage how much we're making, because it's all money. Like, we got $5.25 million. We don't need more money. So I'll just make gears, because we still need to get our 1500 copper gears, so that should speed through that. Alright, everything's up and running. All of this gets shoved into a box now, and it queues up what it is, and out she goes. That just means that there's only one item traveling along rather than lots, and that's helpful. As we see it flowing along, it does alright. However, as we get towards the end of the path, with all the iron and steel items coming on, it does sometimes get a little bit hinky. Although, because I'm showing this one, what's the bet that it'll be perfect? Ah, there we go. Sometimes it gets stuck here, but usually a couple of things will pile up behind it and force it through. And in she goes. So I suppose for the ultimate optimization, it would probably make sense to do this to this side of the factory as well. But with its current setup working, I don't really want to mess with, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of theory. So yeah, we're getting pretty close on some of them. I just noticed as well that it unlocks the Mogul trophies. So we're going to try and get the 5 trophies. I don't know what they look like. Hopefully they fit on our table here and we can put like 3 at the back and 2 at the front. Otherwise we'll move the lamp and put 2 there, and maybe the gold trophy there and all the other ones here. I don't know. We'll work it out. But let me know what you think we should do with the trophies. Have you seen them? Have you got that far? If so, you got no excuses to not give me some tips and tricks in the comments. Getting close to finishing the pure coal section of the coal mogul. So what I've done is I've chucked in a little support there, put the grinder there, and we've set it up so that basically all I need to do when it's finished is chuck in one more of those, and then everything will flow into the crusher and spit it straight out. So not long to go for that one. Everything else is working really well, except for when a box gets stuck there. There's not much I can do about that. Just like I said, we wait. Eventually enough stuff builds up behind it and hoiks it out. But now my full-time job seems to be just running around and picking up things that fall, but I have no idea where they're coming from, because whenever I'm watching, everything works perfectly. As soon as I walk away, random things show up in random places like that. So there's still some things that we need to work out. I just don't know where they're coming from. I could maybe put a wall. We've got some walls. If we were to put a wall there. I'm a bit worried about putting one here though, because of that. The boxes will get stuck. I'll see if that stops anything from falling down. So come around the corner. It is bouncing off the wall. There. Everything seems to be
Hey, look at that. That stopped everything falling off there. That's good. But I don't know why those plates are getting stuck. Now, remember, this game is still in early access, so maybe these are things that they'll iron out. Fingers crossed, eh? So yeah, we just let this run for a couple of hours now. Why are you stuck? That one was a big stuck. Yeah, I can see it makes sense that that gets stuck. Boxes getting stuck there makes sense. We just don't have the room here to get it all pumping. Again, if you have a solution, I'm liking the boxes because it means there's a lot less stuff on the conveyor belt. There you go, that's what I was thinking. But it worked out alright. But with everything, almost everything plugged in, the amount of ore that's flowing in is nuts. I was doing a live stream the other day. Somebody mentioned that there's actually more ore in this map than in the big cave map. So maybe that's got something to do with it. I have also cranked the number of items up to 5,000 from 2,000 because I have a computer that seems to be handling it so far. It's all going pretty well. As you can see at the moment, there's 4,000 active objects in the game at the moment, so it's twice the default. If it was default, maybe we wouldn't have the copper overflow problem. I don't know. It means we should be able to process things twice as fast, right? That's the plan. Looks like coal is going to be our winner. We are up to 9,900 out of 10,000 required. So we get to see what happens when it clicks over and we get our first trophy. We will find out if that one will unlock the Mine Mogul straight away or if we have to do them all before we can get there. So close, and bang, there it is. We are done. It's still locked. Okay, so we have to complete them all. Oh well, it was exciting while it lasted. But that should give us the trophy, right? Where do we get the trophy? Do we buy it from the computer? Trophies. It's 100 grand or $1 million. Yep, we can afford that. Bang. Here's our coal trophy. Huzzah! Now I spend the next 10 minutes trying to get it looking nice. Alright. We've done it. One quest available. Mine Mogul. And that gives us the ultimate Mine Mogul trophy. Activate quest. Bang. Alright. My setup's a bit of a mess because, you know, we needed a little bit of extra of this or a little bit more of that to finish this last bit. So I'm just going to reorganize everything based on what we need. So for iron we only need rods and pipes. Copper we only need pipe and rod. Alright, I'm going to run around, set it up so that we can just sit back, relax and let this grind itself out. Alrighty, so it's not going to be as pretty as the old setup, but for what we want it'll work. We got our gears and swap that out for ingots that'll come through for the polished steel ingots and gears. We've got a double that comes in here for our threadeds, so it'll split them in half, one thread at each side. I have a feeling that may back up. If so we'll just drop that to a single, and a double that comes in for our pipe maker, which is the same as it was. This used to be a splitter, but now it's a solids. It's just going to pump it all straight into there rather than having to redesign things. For iron, we only needed pipe and threaded rods, so 2 go into pipe, 2 go into pipe, 1 goes directly into threaded rods, because threaded rods are slow. So, and then up the other end for copper, since it's the one that you need the most of, kind of makes sense. Copper and gold, it's the one we get the highest volume of. We've got 1 rod threader. We're getting a little bit low on money because we spent it on something that we'll show you later. So the excess will just be free money. We've got a pointless rod maker, but basically we've got this one for the thread and this one for the pipe, but we've also got the overflow copper will be just pumping out pipe and nothing else. So that'll be the pipe sorted out pretty quickly. The threaded rod's going to take a lifetime. Over here, very simple. So for gold we just need ingots and plate. So we've got 4 bashing out ingots, 2 bashing out plate, and then obviously later on we can just chuck another roller in to even the numbers out. So it's going to be pretty straightforward. I've removed the grinder, the ore crusher for coal, so once the 5,000 coal goes in, we'll just chuck in the shaker table again, and that should clean out the last of the gems. Okay, so we've been AFK for a little bit. As you can see, things are ticking along, but we have collected enough coal. So this is where we grab our copper, 7, rotate it to there. So we need to take those 2 out. Grab the hammer, 1, 2, 7, put it in. I've screwed up, haven't I? I've got to get rid of you 2. There we are, 7, bang. Just chuck all of that straight in the bin. Oi. Couple of pipes and things lying around. Seems to be the norm. Alright, we just let that keep grinding. Oh, we're close now. 50 to go. 95, 97. Here we go. 99, bang. We are done! Alright, that took so long. Okay, turn off all auto miners. Trophies. Oh, what? Is that $99 million? 9,900,000. Okay. Well, I guess I'll be back when I have another 3 million. Okay, so we've completed everything, but we don't have enough money. More problems. I like having problems to solve, but at the same time they can be quite annoying. So we're going to flick everything back on, because obviously at the end there I had just about everything turned off except iron. But let's go and make this last, I don't know, $2.8 million, and I'll see you when we get the final trophy. Oh, I'm excited to see what it looks like. See you soon. So we've left the game running in the background for about 6 hours now, hence the change of clothes. But we did it! We've hit the $10 million mark. As you can see, we've got everything turned on. So for the noise, we're going to quickly turn everything off. That'll probably take a few more minutes to come through because of the amount of ore. And we have everything cranked up to 5K. It is time. Trophies. Buy. Purchase. And with that we are essentially broke again, but now the hard part, placing it. Alright, that's it. Everything is finally done. Took way longer than it should have. Broke the game a few times. There was a couple of restarts there due to lag, but it worked. We got the ultimate Mine Mogul. If you're enjoying watching me slowly figure these games out, consider subscribing. I'm still learning as I go, and it genuinely helps the channel, because, you know, we're still very small. Now I guess the real question, what we've learnt so far, will it come over to the big cave, or will we have to start with a whole new idea? Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next. If there's any other games that you think I might be interested in or keen to give a go, chuck them in the comments as well. Until then, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye now.